one of the best speakers in Bangalore Toastmasters Club. Every time he comes on stage, he sets the stage on fire. A truly motivational character. He has his own style which never stops baffling people around him. He has a huge fan following in our club. Let me not waste time in welcoming our new elected president, Cherian Thomas, on stage.
Wow. Do you need it?
Yeah.
So heard me, right?
Everybody heard it.
I don't need it. Thank you, Lalit. Thank you, my Toastmaster family. And I warmly welcome each one of you to this meeting. When I listened to Lalit, his generous introduction, and then I thought about myself, I was wondering who he was talking about. But that's what Toastmasters is all about. It's about supporting one another, caring for one another, spurring one another to become better speakers and better leaders. And perhaps that spirit of support, that spirit of nurturing, perhaps that's what propelled Toastmasters from its humble beginnings to what it is today, spread all around the world. As my tie would tell you, that's a Toastmaster tie. And this kind of spirit of togetherness, human beings relish it because it gives you an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to succeed. I'll give you an example. Berlin Olympics, 1936. What is it known for? Anyone? Jesse Owens, right? What did he do? He won 4 gold medals. One of the greatest athletes of all time. But when Jesse Owens was asked, what's his greatest moment in his sporting career, he didn't mention the gold medals. For him, the greatest Olympic prize was different. Now you've got to realize, 1936 Berlin, the political climate at that time. Hitler ruled Germany. And he declared that the Germans were a master class, a superior class. And Jesse Owens was this black American, as you know. And the first event was the long jump. When he entered the stadium, he saw Hitler sitting there with his bunch of Nazis. And he was getting angry. How dare he speak about a superior race and an inferior race? Anyway, he walked towards the long jump pit, and there he noticed this tall German lanky boy practicing. And Jesse was surprised because he had never seen this boy before. He was never in the circuit. But apparently Hitler had kept him under wraps to surprise him and hopefully win the long jump event with him. And Jesse knew if this boy wins, that's going to lend credence to Hitler's view of Aryan supremacy. And he wanted to win at all costs. At the same time, he was getting angry with Hitler. With that kind of mindset, he started his qualifiers. You get 3 jumps, right, to qualify for the finals the next day. The first jump was a foul because he overstepped the takeoff board. The second jump was a worse foul. And the whole world is looking at Jesse Owens. Is he going to crash out of the Olympics? And Jesse himself is surprised. He's standing there with his hands on his knees, looking down into the ground, wondering, what have I done? At that moment, he felt a hand on his shoulder. And he looked up. Who do you think it was?
The boy.
The German boy, right? His name was Liz Long. He comes and says, Jesse, I know what's troubling you, but you are the great Jesse Owens. You can do this with your eyes closed. And Jesse was filled with energy, with positivity. Yes, I can do it. He felt great. And then The third jump, he qualified. Next day, he beat Liz Long, and he won the gold medal. But it wasn't the gold that was his greatest victory or the greatest prize. It was the support that he got from Liz Long. That's what he cherished. And it's that spirit of sportsmanship, of camaraderie, of support that I believe forms the basis of the Bangalore Toastmasters Club. And you've got to congratulate Prakash and his team for nurturing, for shielding that spirit, and for making that spirit stronger in the club. Let's give a big hand to Prakash and his team. My team and I will do all that we can to strengthen that tradition. Now, as I look to the future, it's a new chapter in my life in more ways than one. This is a new experience as a presidency to lead this wonderful club through the next 6 months. My wife and I celebrated our anniversary just a couple of days ago, so that's a new beginning. Talking about anniversary, I'm going to tell you this. There was this old man sitting in Texas with his friends under a tree, all wearing those cowboy hats. And this old man told his friends, "Do you know what I did on my 25th wedding anniversary?" And the friend said, "What?" "I took my wife to Beijing, China." "Wow! What did you do on your 50th? And the old man said, "I went all the way back to Beijing, China, and got my wife back." Some people run away from challenges. But we at the Toastmasters Club, we embrace challenges. And we love to tackle them. And we're not short of challenges in our club as well. My committee and I, we met on a couple of occasions in the last 2 weeks discussing what's the challenge before us. And one of the things that came up was membership. There was a time when we had about 100 or 110 people not very long ago. Today it's come down to 60. And I called a few people, some members who haven't renewed their membership, and asked them, "Why you're not coming?" And they said, "Oh, we've learned whatever we wanted. We're not learning anything new at the club." Now, when you get a response like that, you can do two things. Either you can say, "Okay, good luck to you," or you can be concerned about it. And we ought to be concerned about it. Because Toastmasters is a learning organization. And learning is a continuous experience. And if the club is not providing a platform to continuously learn, then we need to be concerned about it. And so the theme that my committee and I have set for the next 6 months is to speak to conquer. Conquer what? Conquer your next challenge. We're all at different stages in our speaking career. Some are at the beginning stage, others are more advanced, but we still have a challenge, a goal. What is that? We like to help you identify that, and we like to help you meet that challenge, right? Take you to the next level. Now, for that to happen, there are a couple of things we need to do better. The first thing is mentoring. That's one thing I've heard a lot from existing members as well as people who haven't renewed their membership. Many people are not really happy with the quality of mentoring we're getting at the club. They say the mentors don't have time. And that's understandable because it's a voluntary thing. People are busy with their lives, they've got family. So one thing we want to propose is, if you think you're not getting the attention from your mentor, get in touch with our VP Education, Joseph Das. We will help you find someone. We will help you deliver or craft your speech or whatever you want. Right? The other thing is certain mentors are burdened with a lot of mentees. Some people don't even have one of them. I don't have a single mentee. So we're going to look at the mentors, the mentees that they have, and we'll redistribute the burden. The other thing we got to do is, we got to improve the evaluation process. And I'm open to ideas. If you've got a nice idea, please come to the committee and tell us. How can we improve evaluation? Because again, people tell us, we're not really happy with how we have been evaluated. Why is that the case? To my mind, sometimes the evaluation process or the evaluators look at themselves as performers. They want to impress the audience. That is fine, as long as you've added value to the speaker's speech. But if it doesn't happen, then there is a problem. So we are proposing that at the end of every meeting, we're thinking of doing away with the award for evaluators. Why do you need it? You are good, and that's why you're an evaluator. You don't need a certificate to tell you you're the best evaluator, right? The other thing we're thinking is, we want to increase our interaction with the other clubs. There are lots of lovely people, talented people outside the club as well. We want to get them here as evaluators. Not just as evaluators, we also want them to speak to us, do education sessions. And we certainly want to get a lot more speakers who are not Toastmasters, people like Vishwa, to come and give us new perspective, right? So that's our plan. And what I want each one of you to do is, when you leave tonight, think about what's your next goal. Where do you see yourself by December? What do you want to do? What's the next level you want to achieve? Tell us your speaking plan. Tell us when you plan to deliver your next speech. Get in touch with Joseph. That'll help us plan the next 6 months. It'll help you plan your speeches. And then come to the club, speak to conquer your next challenge. Before I end, I want to thank my committee. They're a wonderful bunch of people. They did a great job in putting this together. I'm proud of you, and I'm looking forward to working with you. And for all the members, I can assure you one thing, that the best is yet to come. Thank you.
When I was introducing Cherry and Thomas, I used a word called baffle. So I don't think baffle is the right word, but I could rephrase it and say he bamboozles us. This is a speaker who's always been inspirational to all of us. I would like to call upon Cherry again to introduce our guest speaker.
Thank you. It's my honor and privilege to welcome the next speaker, the keynote speaker. He's achieved a lot at a very young age, and yet he's very humble and down to earth, which is a very tough thing to do in life, particularly when you're young. He's a former investment banker and equity analyst, but he's transitioned himself to the world of sports. He's one of the top sports analysts in India, sports consultant in India, and he manages some of the world's biggest footballers. And when I heard that, I asked him, is Messi on that list? And he said, no, I don't have Messi, but the people I manage were the Messis of their era. So he gets them to come to India to play for the Indian Soccer League. Super League, Indian Super League. He's going to tell us about his life with these legendary footballers and how did he become an entrepreneur. The person I'm talking about is Vishwa Swaroop. Please put your hands together to welcome Vishwa Swaroop to the stage.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. How are you? Thank you so much for having me. This is, I think, my second time at Toastmasters. The first time was, I think, a few years ago. when I think 5 years ago exactly, I came to enroll at St. Joseph's College, and I don't know why I didn't come back. So I regret it now that I'm standing here. So it's great to be here. Thank you, Cherian, again. Wish you the best for your presidency. I hope your committee does really well. Thank you again for having me here. And yeah, when Cherian called me, I was surprised. I said, Cherian, I'm not a speaker. As you can see, I'm not a trained speaker. I'm not someone who's capable of addressing a large gathering. And I told him, it's why me? He said, we want somebody, we want to hear your story. So what you've done so far in your life. So I said yes, because I always wanted to enroll, and this is like an opportunity for me to just to learn. Always keep learning. That's been my motto. So Cherian asked me to talk about my connection with football in India and how I managed to help it a bit. Before that, I'll just introduce myself. I'm 28 years old. I was in investment banking. I have my own company now, which I started 18 months ago. It's called What's Next. Because when I was working in Wall Street, it was very, as you know, 22 hours a day, 20 hours a day, and I was just burnt out. So I was always constantly asking myself, what's next, what's next? So that's the name of my company. And I mainly work with startups here in Bangalore and in the US. I help them get funding and other strategic advisors. And I also am a co-founder of another startup called Outline, where we are building a social media platforms for sports. We started earlier this year. We should be live in a few months. And I'm constantly consulting a lot of sports teams in India, especially football. And so I just want to know how many of you watch football or know something about football, so that I can get. Oh, that's good. Good for me. Good for business. So So this was I'll just give you a story as to how I started. So I'm a big Juventus fan. There's an Italian club called Juventus, and they were in the Champions League final earlier this month. I was there. I just came back on Monday. So I have been following them for the last 15, close to 19 years now. So I'm probably the biggest fan in India. So, and size-wise also. So also, one of the star players of Juventus has been Alessandro Del Piero. So he was a star at his time in 98, 97, 99 when I started watching. So he was the Messi of today. He and Ronaldo, the Brazilian, so they were the top two in the world. And I've been a fan of him ever since. In 2012, it was announced that he's going to leave the club. The club didn't want to renew his contract. He was 37, and I had never watched him live. So it was like I had never watched Juventus live. I never watched him live, and I thought I have to be there for his last game, no matter what. So I had no connections, no way. I had never been to Italy before, so I just booked my tickets, get my visa, and I leave. So I land in Turin, where the club is based, and I go there, and I was all enthusiastic, I'm going to watch this game and blah blah blah, and but no tickets. So I was like, what do I do? So I just go to the headquarters. I just ask the taxi driver. I go to the reception and I say, hey, I'm from India. I'm this guy. I want to meet the president of the club. And the lady was kind enough. She said, sorry, he's not available. You can please leave. So then I just came out and thinking, what do I do next? And although it was the final game of the season, they were going to be present. The trophy was going to be presented, and Del Piero has a big fan following in Italy. Everybody around Europe had come to send him off, and I had no hotels, and I'm just standing there on the street. And just before I left India, I had tried to connect with somebody from the membership team. I was a Juventus member for about 5 years, so I tried to connect with the membership team, and I don't know if it's luck or was it my efforts. I don't know. That guy just calls me and he says, "You told you'd be coming to Turin today. Are you here?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm here." So he said, okay, let's catch up at a cafe or something. So he was an India fan, he wanted to know something about India. So I go meet him and I tell him, boss, I don't have any hotel or ticket or anything. He said, oh, no problem, I'll do something for you. And he puts me in the team hotel of where the players stay. It's a big five-star hotel. So, and it's like I was traveling with a friend. We were going to Paris and we were going around Europe at the time, and we had a very limited budget and everything. So, and we go, and this is like a big five-star hotel in Europe, which is like very expensive. And we go, and my friend, first question, he's not a football fan, so he doesn't give a damn. So he's like, how much are we paying for this? I said, it's I don't know, about 300, 400. I never asked the reception, so I think it's going to be about 300, 400 euros. And the euro at the time was about 84 rupees or something. And he's like, I'm not going to pay so much. Let's leave. So I was like, I'll take care of it, no worry. So I'll take you to this game. You'll have a nice experience. Let's do this. So he's like, okay. So, but I still didn't have the tickets. He just said, I'll try to arrange it for you. So the next to the hotel is a cafe. It's like a bar cum cafe. So I just went to have a sandwich or something. I just went there. So this cafe was owned by the manager of Juventus at the time. His name is Antonio Conte. His brother owns the place. So I go there and I'm having my meal, and suddenly the manager walks in. He was a former player, and I greet him and I speak to him. I speak to his brother as well, and even they kind of say, "Oh, very nice to meet you. We didn't know we have fans in India," and so somehow I got the tickets. I watched the game. Everything went well. I came back. So after I came back, I wanted to do something for the club in India to promote them. So I constantly kept in touch with the club to see what I can do for them. So, and the club was, they were very surprised that somebody from India is trying to do so much for them. So they invited me the next year for the championship game, and all expenses paid. So they called me, and I was asked to give the Player of the Year award, which is voted by the fans on the pitch in front of about 80,000 people. So that was their gesture. I was like, thank you. And then I met a lot of players personally at after party, and I interacted. Most of them don't speak a word of English, so it's all it's just hand gestures and everything. So, and that's how I got to meet some few players. And whenever I used to travel to work, I used to travel to US to work, and on my way I used to always stop over in Europe, go to Turin, watch a game, meet some of my players, just say hi, give them some gifts, whatever. I just built that rapport. I'm always a fan, always a fan. So I went there, and so last year I got married, 2014, and I asked my wife, where do you want to go on your honeymoon? She said, let's go to Italy. So we've been talking so much about it. So I said, good for me. So there was another game I can watch. So we go to Italy, and we're in Turin, we're having lunch at this place. And suddenly, out of the glass window, it's in the heart of Turin, and it's a very nice restaurant. And watching there's a big street which is cordoned off, and a lot of Juventus jerseys, a lot of people, fans waiting. I was like, what's happening? So I asked somebody what's happening. He said, Del Piero is coming here. He was in Australia for 2 years after leaving Juventus. For the first time, he's coming back to Turin. His contract is finished, and there's some event happening. So I call up a friend. His name is Claudio Chiellini. Chiellini is the current vice captain of Italy and Juventus. So I said, hey, I want to meet Del Piero. I want to meet him. And it's been some time. Last time, just shook his hand, so I just want to meet him. So now that he's coming back. They said, yeah, sure. So he calls up his brother Stefano. Stefano says, send him over. So I go there, and everybody's wondering who is this dark guy walking in. We are waiting for like 2 hours. He's just walking in. So I go in and I meet Del Piero for the second time. So and I said, hi, how are you, and everything. And at the same time, around the same time, there was news that the Indian Super League is going to happen that year. So, and I go there and I tell him, you want to play in India now that you're free? He says, why not? Send me a proposal. I'll look into it. He was just being kind. So So, and I took it very seriously. So, and I go back and I call my friends in India who work in football. I've been pretty active here at the KSFA, AFF, I have some friends. And I call them up, hey, say, I have, you guys are looking for players. I heard all the names that you have. I think, Del Piero would be the biggest name. Why don't we do something? So, and they put me in touch with the owners. They said, speak to the owners of the club if they're willing to pay so much. And they say, okay, so like that I got introduced to some of the owners. 8 clubs are there, and out of 8, 7 said no. So because of his high salary demands. The other one said, everybody, nobody knew me. They're like, who is this guy randomly calling? I was in San Francisco at the time, so I was coordinating between there. And I was like, so nobody was interested, but this one team, Delhi, they were like, okay, we are interested, what's his, how much is he asking? I said, I don't know, you send me a proposal, I will go speak to him. So they sent me a proposal. So now that he's out of India, I can tell you the figures. So I think they offered him $500,000. And all these footballers earn minimum 4 to 6 million a year. And for them, $500,000 is like peanuts. So I was a little embarrassed to just just send it over. So I said, just increase it a bit. And they said $600,000. So then I was like, okay. I just sent it to Del Piero's management. I said, we can definitely do something, increase it, but I really want you to come. I started promoting, pitching. So this went on for about 3 months, finally before he came. And the final offer that he got was 1.2 million for 3 months. And the reason that he agreed was I was not an agent trying to make money out of him or trying to sell him something. He genuinely knew that I'm trying to promote India, and being a fan, I want him to come here. And I think just before the league started, 2 weeks before it was announced that he was going to come to India. And that was the biggest signing for Indian football ever. It made news worldwide. And I think that started everything for me with the club. So suddenly all the other clubs started calling me. It's like, oh, you okay? So now we want players for our teams. Because they tried to reach out through agents, and agents used to quote crazy figures, and they used to get, and all the big names they wanted to get, none of them agreed to come to India. So suddenly all of them want big names to sign up. So I helped another 2-3 players who I knew, and that's how I got into football in India. So then the clubs wanted me, the clubs here have no clue as to how to run football teams. I mean, even I'm not an expert, I'm not a sports professional, I'm not certified in anything, I have no clue. I've learned over a period of time, reading up and meeting people. And but those guys are worse than me, so the owners. So they said, we want you as a consultant for our team. So I got like 2-3 offers, then I ended up going to, so there was a team that was supposed to come from Bangalore, but Sun Group pulled out at the last minute. So the same team went to Chennai. So I thought it's going to be Bangalore, so I had agreed before. So then I ended up going to Chennai. So this team finished top of the league, and I think I recommended 6 of the squad players. I think they just missed out going to the final. They would have won if they had gone to the final. And so that's how a name, a brand kind of thing developed for me in India, in Indian football. And so I just want to share a few experiences that I had in the ISL. So I get all these players, then I join up with Team Chennai. So, and the first thing I land in Chennai. So I land in Chennai from Bangalore. We go there, go from here on training camp. So next day it's announced that MS Dhoni, the Indian captain, is going to be the co-owner. So I'm a big cricket fan as well. So I played till the state level Karnataka under 16 here in Bangalore. So I'm all excited, So next day, so I had a player, Marco Materazzi. He got headbutted by Zidane in the 2006 final. So me and him are very good pals now. So me, him, and another friend called Mikhail Sylvester. He plays for Manchester United. He was also there. So we had gone to Mumbai for an ad shoot, So we turned up the next day late. So every other team member was in training. So this event to announce Dhoni was happening in a setting like this. All the press was invited. We go there and we go in early because and suddenly I'm sitting with Dhoni and we're having tea there, and I'm like, okay, this is real, something unique. So and that was just the start. All the things that I'm going to tell you now. So that was, I thought, I played cool. I'm like, oh, okay, you're Dhoni, I'm Vishwa. So nice to meet you. So and the next day we traveled to Goa to play the first game, and the other co-owner turns up, Abhishek Bachchan. So and I said hi, nice meeting you. So I'm very, I'm not a big fan of actors. I like athletes, I like scientists, so I don't have very high regard for actors. So I just said, okay, hi, how are you? So I just left it at that. So in a way it worked. I don't know, I think it was a surprise or what. So now we are good friends. We keep, over a period of 3 months we bumped into each other so many times and we spoken. But that's how it started. I thought, okay, so this is interesting, experience. What am I? Because I had, because the work I was doing with startups, I couldn't leave. So I had to constantly. I used to work out of my room with the internet and phone, and then I used to attend these matches and meetings and everything. So the first game we were going to Goa. So the team bus leaves. So I'm left behind, and I don't know how to get to the stadium. So I'm like, what to do? Because in Goa, it's the 5-kilometer radius around the stadium. It's all blocked, and you need a car pass to get in. And I have no clue. So I'm standing, and the owner comes. The lady, she owns Asian Paints. She said, why don't you come with me? We'll go to the stadium. So all the owners get a big convoy. Nicely. So and then Mr. Bachchan, the junior Bachchan, comes in and says, okay, they had 2 cars. They said, we both are going together, you come in the other car. So I get a BMW 7 Series for me, just for myself. Police convoy, ambulance, blah, blah, blah. Just in the corner, I'm sitting there. And so as we enter the stadium, there's all this press and everything, all the paparazzi and everything. So everybody is like, so everybody's clicking pictures, and all the VIPs coming. That was the first game, so everybody's clicking pictures. And I was coming in the car behind. These people, when they got down, then I get down. Everybody, and everybody's wondering, who is this guy? Who is this guy? Like Abhishek Bachchan is greeting him to come in. So who is this guy? So that was a start. That was that's how it started, and we had many moments like this during the ISL, and it was pretty insane. So I also got to meet my hero growing up was Tendulkar. So two of my heroes were Del Piero and Tendulkar. So and I got to have lunch with Tendulkar, and right now we are I consult his team as well. So but instances like this happen. So when I look back and I see like how did I manage to do this? And I see, was it luck or was it hard work or, I did definitely put a lot of energy into it. I traveled to Europe, I traveled to America. I was, I have to tell you, I didn't make any money out of it. But I put in a lot of effort, and I was like thinking, what did I gain? What did I do? So I have done a lot of good work in my life, but this is the highlight now. Even yesterday I was quoted in some newspaper saying one player is coming or something like that. So this is in the limelight right now. And I was wondering, what did I do? What did, what can people learn from my experience? And it's not luck. It's definitely not luck. So because I think luck is, when things go well, everybody says it's good luck. When things go bad, they say it's bad luck. I think it's just a term that we give to things we don't understand, and I definitely don't think it's luck, but definitely favorable circumstances, but also being there, being prepared. So the biggest learning that I got from this was, if you're passionate about something, if you like something. I always wanted to play sport. I wanted to play for India cricket. I wanted to, experience how it is to be in a team, travel. Like when IPL happened, I was very depressed because I was like, few of my mates like Robin Uthappa and all these guys used to play with me. It's like, and I'm seeing them, I'm like, shit, I should have continued. You know, it's like it's very bad. And now I got to experience it, you know, how it feels. Because wherever I went, I had security, I had big cars, I have policemen, I'm meeting and dining with all the big shots. And actually, it was when I came back, when I landed at the airport, when I came back home, I'm waiting for a security or somebody. I call my wife and I ask her, so have you sent the driver? She said, no, could catch the bus and come home. so this was my experience in ISL. You know, I can go into it, but I don't want to. So I feel, you know, everybody, if they pursue their passion, you know, pursue what they like, I think anything is achievable. And the main difference that I found was the respect. You know, I respected the athletes. The athletes appreciated that. These guys are multi-millionaires, you know, and they have met millions of people and who are trying to exploit them every day. There are very few people who genuinely try to help them, and they can identify. I asked one of my players, he's like, you know, like he gave me his bank account password and everything. You know, I was with his family and everything. I go meet him. I was like, you know, you've met so many people. Why me? And he's like, I trust you completely. Right? So why? Because we respect. You know, athletes crave for that respect, and I think it's across the board. Be it athletes, be it the owner, be it VIP, be it actors. People, once you respect them, I think you get it back. Some of them don't, but yeah, most of them do, you know, respect. And I think once that's what I wanted to say, you know, today. Like, if you respect everybody, I think things will work out. Things, whatever you want to do, you can do it. So I just want to do some Q&A, Cherry?
Sure. I've got some time for 5 minutes in case you have any questions. Any questions?
No. Yeah.
Yeah.
You said you encourage entrepreneurs and then the what's next.
Yes.
Yeah. So, on what basis do you look on for entrepreneurs and aspiring entrepreneurs?
Okay. So what's next? I started because I used to cover the US tech sector. I was working in finance, but I used to cover companies like Apple. I worked on the Facebook IPO, LinkedIn, and everything. So I have an insight as to how the tech sector works in the Silicon Valley. You know, I have a lot of friends. My brother stays there, and I've been there many times on work. And I'm a big Steve Jobs fanatic. And so, like startups are how I work with is I try to identify which are consumer related because that's my focus. So here in India, most of the startups are just cloning what's happening in the US. Nobody's innovating anything. You know, they're just ripping off ideas and just trying to do something here. So I'm trying to identify startups which are original, which can scale up around the world, and give them whatever support it's needed in terms of funding, in terms of whatever that's required. Yes, please. Anyway.
Vishwa, Swaroop, what can you do for aspiring footballers like me? My son is very passionate about football.
Okay.
What can you do for him? Thank you.
You know, I can put you to trials with some of the biggest clubs in Europe. You know, I can get you a trial. You can go, but at the end of the day, you should deliver. You know, it's like your training and everything. I can put you to the best coaches, the best physios. You know, that's the best I can do. I can open doors for you. Anything, even it's a startup or any company, any football. I can just, even the superstars that I deal with, I can just open doors for them. So, you know, end of the day, they need to kind of close it, and with their talent, their perseverance. So I can do that. Definitely, I can do that. I'm actually looking for. It's easy to get players from there. It's difficult to send players from here to there. So anything, from my side, please let me know.
Thank you, deeply appreciate that. And the doors on me are closed?
Those are,
I can still.
yes.
Okay, thank you.
Even I'm working out. Let's work out together.
Okay.
I'm a footballer myself. I played for Karnataka last year, and I played for Bangalore FC.
Okay.
So basically, me being a football player, I look to the future of football in India. When do you think that's going to happen? When And do you think football is going to evolve?
So football in India right now, it's just picking up. In terms of like for you as a career, if I see, it's just starting, but it's a good, good starting point. Like even today, I just did a few negotiations for a few Indian players, and they're getting huge salaries, for this edition of ISL, and I think it's only going to go up. And cricket, I see it's coming down. In terms of people are just fed up with cricket, and so I see a big opportunity for footballers, budding footballers in India, and there's definitely opportunity. So the only thing I see lacking in Indian players as such is the discipline. Even when I saw the players, like these guys, the guys I worked with are like world champion Matrasi, Silvestre, Del Piero, Trezeguet. So these guys, even today, every morning get up at 6, work out, gym, eat on time, eat the right things. Very disciplined lifestyle. We go to the buffet and these guys are eating salad, fruits and everything. Our Indian players like chicken biryani, whatever is there. It's like yeah. So the biggest difference was that. And I said, how does it make a difference? Right? End of the day is energy. I said, it prevents injuries. It prevents So like I'll just give you an example as to how international player prepares for a game. I'll give you an example of Mikel Silvestre, the Manchester United player. So before they start hydrating for the game 2 days before, they start drinking a lot of water, like multiple times to the bathroom, but they keep hydrating themselves. And they eat fruits, they eat lean foods before the game. And just before, like 2 hours before the game, they eat a lot of carbs so that they have the energy to burn. And that's the way they prepare. Even though they've played like for 20 years, they don't take it for granted. Indian players is just the opposite. But of course it's changing, and I see a lot of potential. If you're playing, please continue to play. And it's like Bangalore FC is the best run team in India right now. So the coach Ashley is a good friend of mine. So any help you need, please do let me know.